Hey guys, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, so thanks for being patient with me. I've been a little all over the place. Literally, I've been traveling across the country at a moment's notice, just trying to figure out what's best for my mental health and everything. But fortunately, drawing is always a really therapeutic thing for me, so I've got a really fun video for you today about just drawing quickly and sketching and getting your ideas out there. So these are great warm-ups that you can do before doing a detailed drawing, or this could just be your whole drawing. I usually work very small and very detailed and very time intensive, so this was great for me to get out of my comfort zone and just do something big and crazy. So I definitely encourage you to try time-based exercises, shorter ones, and also larger scale, and just loosening up and holding the pencil in an uncomfortable, weird way so you can't be as precise, and just seeing what happens. So have fun! Let's start out by just doing some sketches with a pencil, so no commitment to the pen or the hatching or anything like that. We're just going to do outlines and also focus on those wrinkles in the hand. So something that's great about hands is there are a lot of lines to use. There are folds, there are knuckles, there are nails. So those are great guide points to help you figure out the proportions. So does the finger line up with the base of the thumb? Do the nails all line up with each other, or are they at different heights? And then you can sort of watch the drawing develop and just watch your hand next to it and lay them side by side and see if they look similar enough. Whether you're satisfied or not, just move on to the next one because these are warm-up sketches, so you don't need to worry too much. Keep your movements loose and gestural and move your arm around, not just your wrist, not just your fingers, but your whole arm from the shoulder. So you're really gesturing, so you're really getting the sense of what does the hand look like, what is the shape, and not just what does this tiny wrinkle look like. So make sure you're not spending too much time on each one. The point is to fill up the page as quickly as possible and get comfortable drawing before you move on to something more detailed. This is the next step of warming up and still keeping it really loose, still not worrying too much about proportions. These proportions are probably a little bit off, but it doesn't matter too much because I'm just focused on the general impression of a hand. So I want it to look basically like my hand. I want the shadows to be basically three-dimensional. And then otherwise I'm just trying to have fun and loosen up. So you'll notice that I'm making big movements even with the hatching. I'm not doing tiny little details. I'm just trying to cover as much of the space as possible as though there's a timer going. So you'll see that the drawing is developing. I'm making sure that the shadows on the page so it looks like it's not just floating in space. And as I said, having your hand right next to what you're drawing is great because you can just look back and forth, although it's a different size. If you want something a little easier, try doing the exact same size, and you can actually even trace around your hand vaguely to get the proportions right to begin with. Now I'm doing another big one, and as you can tell, I really didn't map this out before because it doesn't even fit on the page, but that's great. That can often be a really exciting composition for it to just be extending beyond the edges of the page. So I just let myself keep going with the proportions I started out with. I didn't overthink it. And then I went straight in for the hatching once I felt like the sketch was reasonable. And then I'm coming in with the outline at the end once I'm sure that the hatching is right. So once the shadows have told me this is the shape, this makes sense, this is wide enough, this is dark enough, then I can come in with that outline and make sure it looks more concrete. So now you can see it's not just a collection of shadows, but it's really a hand. The last one I'll do isn't my hand. It's closer to something I may actually do as part of my work or my daily drawing practice, so not so much a warm-up. But again, I'm not using a pencil, so the proportions are not the focal point of this drawing. It's just the shadows, the hatching, the overall impression. And as you can tell, I'm going around in a circle, so I'm mimicking the shape of the apple because the apple itself is circular. And first I'm putting those hatches in, and then I'm radiating outwards from the center and putting the next level of hatching in, and just building it up so it looks balanced. And then towards the end, I'm disregarding the two directions I started out with, so that circular direction and that radiation. And I'm just coming in with diagonals, with scribbles, anything I can to darken it up and make sure that there's a full range of shadow from that darkest shadow to the highlights around the rim of it. I hope this was a good exercise for you. I find it really helps me to start the day this way and not just go straight into those fine detailed drawings, but instead to loosen up and to have some fun with it and not put too much pressure on myself.